Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bustle, and everybody else in between. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. Let's do this thing. Countdown to Super Bowl 58 continues. We're going to break it down. We'll get you caught up to date with the most up-to-date props that have been posted, all the line moves and everything else in between. But pretty much on a hour-by-hour basis, there are more and more different props that are being posted for the big game. And, of course, we're going to be kicking it live straight from the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada, all week long next week. But a special program alert. We will not be on at our regular time. We're going to be on at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Las Vegas time, 8 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday next week. We got a full house on the program. Tonight, the Ranger Redneck Cam Stewart steps up and in. We've got Big Man on Campus breaking it down with us. We've got our boy Sniper Picks in the house. Sniper West kicks it with us this evening. As I stated, we've got a full house. We're throwing it down here tonight. Andrew McCannis will step up, and then we've got some NHL hockey to get to. It's All-Star Week this weekend. Listen, whatever the National Hockey League does, it's pretty much going to be wrong. All right? Let's just call it out for what it is. It's one of these deals, but it doesn't, like, it wouldn't change anything, like, if they would do anything differently, if you know what I'm saying. But, you know, they have the All-Star game this week, fine. Okay, you have your All-Star game. Yet, wouldn't this be a good week, actually, to actually have games going on TV when, like, you know what I mean? Like, next week, people are going to be thinking about football, right? Like the Super Bowl, hardcore degenerates right now. And, you know, if you're a sport fan, you're into the Super Bowl countdown and stuff. But I'm sure even many of you are like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'll get to the Super Bowl next week type of deal. Shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM Channel 159 right now. So it seems like the NHL, it would be good for them to have games on this week when people are not thinking about football. Right? But would it really matter anyways? Like, you know, probably not. Like hockey, pretty much at this point, if you like hockey, you like hockey. If you don't like hockey, you don't like hockey. And I'm not really sure whether they play on a Tuesday night, a Thursday night, a Sunday night, or any damn night actually would change anything, right? All right, so I say we got a full house on the program. We got some games coming up in the late night hours here tonight. I should note that the Boston Celtics just beat the Pacers, but the Pacers covered a number, baby. And this is one of those nice games where we went 3-0. We had the Pacers plus the points. We had the over in the game, and we had Pascal Siakam over 19.5 points scored. He's been money, man, with the Pacers as far as his player prop is concerned. We'll go over it a little bit later on. I want to check in on it, but off the top of my head, I think he's only not hit once. I think he scored 15 points once, but he's been money. And so we go 3-0 in that game. We've got the Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors coming up. Joel Embiid is in. He's going to grace us with his presence tonight. So Joel Embiid is in. I think that, you know, obviously the Philadelphia 76ers are a better basketball team than the Golden State Warriors are right now. But anybody that's, you know, watched the Warriors over the last week, you have to ask yourself, I guess it could go two ways. Either the Warriors are on the verge of getting broken right now, like, you know, snapped in half, or they're going to find a way to win one of these close games. Because the last two games have been sheer heartbreak, right? Like, just gutted. You know, like, they look more distraught after these losses than they did when they lost in the finals to the Raptors. Like, you know, like that Sacramento King game was a wild one. Curry turned the ball over, didn't get the shot off at the end. And then it was a great game on Saturday night with the Lakers and the Warriors. And, you know, the Lakers scored. And then, you know, Curry hit like a clutch-ass shot with a couple of seconds left. And you think, okay, they're back on track. And then, boom. You know, was it LeBron goes to the free throw line with a couple of seconds left, what, you know, 0.7 or whatever. Like, they've lost, like, really, really, like, at the buzzer or weird ways. So, are they really going to lose again, like, tonight like this, even though they're not great? I don't love it, but I'm leaning with the Warriors. Embiid's first game back, I don't know, maybe he gets hurt or something. He doesn't play that much. But, right, I'm just saying, like, the way the Warriors had a bad week. All right, so something's got to, you know, good's got to happen for them. Should be a fun game, though. We've got college basketball coming up a little bit later on. We'll get into it. A big man on campus is going to be with us. Speaking of college basketball, good news, bad news. We were on South Carolina tonight. They're 14-point underdogs against the Tennessee Volunteers. South Carolina won the game outright, 63-59. That's the good news. The bad news is we're on Kansas State, and Kansas State are killing us right now. An absolutely pathetic performance tonight by the Wildcats. Oklahoma's beating them 61-45. This game is in Manhattan as well. Disgraceful, 61-45 right now for the Sooners. We've got some college basketball coming up a little bit later on. Michigan and Michigan State. Second half has just started. The Michigan Wolverines, surprisingly, are winning the game 35-33 right now over Sparty. Sparty are laying 5.5. The second half just started. We're at the 1944 mark. The total right now is 141.5. All right, so we'll get into the Super Bowl tonight, get you caught up to date with the props. Andrew McKinnon is going to bat leadoff with the Ranger Redhead Cam Stewart. And we've got some interesting hockey futures I want to look at. We've got a game coming up tonight as well with the Kraken and the Sharks. It's a battle of the sea tonight. The Seattle Kraken are in the Bay Area. San Jose have actually played pretty good hockey over the last week and a half or so. They've won 3 of their last 4 hockey games. They've been competitive in some of their other games. You know, listen, the Sharks are not a very good team, right? They want to get the top pick in the draft, and they've had a couple of runs, though, this year. You know, they've lost 12 in a row. They've played well for a couple of weeks, and they lose 8 in a row. And again, they seem to be back into, one of these play well modes as the All-Star break approaches. I like the Sharks plus 1.5. I'm not going to go on a limb and say the Sharks are going to win a game. They could, but I'm not rich enough to be betting on the San Jose Sharks to be winning games. I have enough to bet on them at plus 1.5, though. So yeah, give me the San Jose Sharks plus 1.5 goals, minus 130 in this game. So as we say, the light night in the National Hockey League, light week in the NHL. But I've seen some interesting props, and I look forward to McKinnis' opinion on this. McKinnis is a big-time Nate McKinnon fan, and McKinnon's actually, I think, is from his hometown. Even the area that he's from and all that. He loves Nate McKinnon. Interesting prop as far as Nate McKinnon is concerned. And this is pretty crazy. Nate McKinnon has a point in every single home game that he's played in this year. 25 of them. 25 of them. And there's a number out there, 15-1, plus 1,500, that he records a point in all 41 games. So we'll get into this, which seems like a impossible task to get a point in all 41 home games. Is he going to play in all 41 home games? But we'll break it down and more, including Super Bowl 58. We got a full house. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. This is Sports Rage. Bring it.
End up winning outright as a 4.5-point underdog at kickoff last week. They're headed back to the Super Bowl yet again. They were phenomenal, Vinny, in the first half, and they were phenomenal against Miami in the first half, too.
A lot of motivated players, and look, you got to hand it to them. Youthful players playing in a great system by Spagnuolo, and we know how great of a big game coordinator Steve Spagnuolo is.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a beautiful time. NBA players are going wild. If I had to guess, a lot of people are going to get real angry. No defense, no defense, no defense. See, I want people to understand this, okay? Because we're always honest. When I take that big pause, that means we're thinking about betting big.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
in-game live.
Just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage. That was good betting. We waited for a 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like a 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. It's a Twisted Tuesday. Countdown to Super Bowl 58 is on. We'll get you caught up to date with the updated props that have been posted. There's a lot of stuff that's starting to appear right now. And this game, of course, is a rematch from 4 years ago when the Kansas City Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers. It was an 11-point victory. Game went over the number. And I don't really see how this game doesn't get into the 50s as well. I find it fascinating that the total is 47.5. It hasn't moved. And this game, of course, is indoors. Weather will not be a factor. And I think both offenses should be able to find ways to be successful in this game. We'll get to the picks that are coming up tonight, but I was thinking about this game. And, you know, you're going to hear so much about Mahomes and Purdy and McCaffrey and all these players, but the real matchup here really is Kyle Shanahan and what he's going to do. He's the offensive, mind behind the San Francisco 49ers against Spagnuolo, who's just been spectacular and has shut down all these offenses. And Kansas City's defense doesn't get the credit that it deserves when really, like, it's the, it's just a dominant defense. It's been a dominant defense all season long. But which coaching staff is going to be able to surprise the other one? We'll bring the Reggie Reddick, Cam Stewart in. I will say, though, Cam, that I don't really think there's anything to look back on that last Super Bowl that they played. They're completely different teams. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback. McCaffrey wasn't on the San Francisco 49ers. Tyreek Hill was on the Kansas City Chiefs. And, in fact, Tyreek Hill was the one that saved the day in that game by getting open on a deep play late. So I don't think, I'll tell you what, me personally, I'm not going to waste any time really looking back on what happened in the last Super Bowl between these two teams that they played, because they're only the same teams in really name only, although the same coaching staff.
Yep. Good points, Morency. I think it's going to be vital, too, that San Francisco's D-line, put some pressure on Mahomes. I think Bosa's going to have a huge game. And you're right, a lot of different receivers, a lot of different players for these teams. And I think McCaffrey's huge. We talked about his value as MVP if you do like San Francisco in this game. And I just think San Francisco, the extra week, Purdy will have some time to prepare, and he will be good in this game. I know you talked about this earlier, and I really believe this. Sometimes, you hang on by a thread. You beat the Packers in a game you didn't play very well. Detroit was all over you. You came back and won. Some bad coaching decisions by Campbell and some bad execution by the Lions. But San Francisco finds a way, Gabe, and I think they're going to find a way. Betting against Mahomes has not been a recipe to get rich, but I firmly believe San Francisco will win this game between like 3 to 6 points, and it'll be a close one. And I agree with you. I think we're going to have points in this game. 47.5 seems way too light with these offenses in San Francisco. They've been giving up points, and I think San Francisco offense will be able to score on Kansas City despite their very good defense.
Like as I was saying, so yeah, Spagnuolo's defense has been amazing, specifically taking away other teams' wide receivers. Right? They do a great job of that. They're your number one wide receiver. They shut you down. They've done a great job of getting a pass rush going as well. Chris Jones is one of the most underrated players in the National Football League. Yep. It's one of those deals, no matter how good you are, if you're on the Kansas City Chiefs, you're never, if you're not Kelsey and you're not Mahomes, people aren't going to talk about you. Like Karlaftis is another one who's a stud. Like a good comparison, and I know this being the Michigan fan that I am and watching all the Big Ten games, is Aiden Hutchinson's amazing, right? But he went like second overall. Mm-hmm. Karlaftis went like 21st or whatever overall, 19, 20, whatever it was when the Chiefs drafted at that time. I think it was 21st overall. Karlaftis went 21st overall, and he was a monster at Purdue. He was a single man wrecking crew getting to the quarterback on his own. Aiden Hutchinson was amazing, but Aiden Hutchinson also played on the Michigan Wolverines with a bunch of other really good defensive linemen that also warranted the other team being worried about. So, they're so good defensively. Snead is so good. They're so well coached. And quite frankly, I'm concerned about this because Shanahan has been outcoached a lot in these spots. Like at some point, he needs to win this chess match. He's like a chess master, yet he never beats Kasparov. It's like, well, if you want to be the world chess master, you're going to have to beat the Russian dude, bro. And right now, the Russian dude is Andy Reid. That's like the white whale that you need to figure out. He already beat you in a Super Bowl. You lost to Bill Belichick in a Super Bowl as the OC already, although you found ways to score in that game. So to me, I just keep coming back to this, that Kyle Shanahan has to catch Spagnuolo off guard. But let's get to some hockey. We'll get back to the Super Bowl. Let's bring in Andrew McKinnis right now. WagerTalk.com. And what's going on, McKinnis? How you doing tonight?
What's going on, guys? Good to be here with you. Hey, short slate in the NHL today, yesterday, tomorrow. But you know what? We can still find ways to make money on them. I kind of like the small slates. I'm still making some money with them, guys. How you guys doing?
Small slates suck. Just call it out for what it is. Like,
we want more.
Yeah, it's not like it's a good thing. Oh, look, there's only one game tonight. That's great. Like, there's only 2 games tonight.
When you bet 15 games a night like you, I'm sure they do suck. But for me, it's a little bit different. I'm not usually betting that many. So
you're happy it's only the Blue Jackets and the Blues playing tonight?
I'm going to be honest with you, Gabe. It's probably the worst Sharks game that's ever been played. The Blue Jackets. I have money on that. I took the dog, and it'll be great, but it's a horrible game.
I bet on the Blues. I haven't watched a second of it. Like, it's terrible.
Horrible.
Like, it's one of the worst games. Let me know when it's over.
Looks like last night's game was good, though, guys. Last night's game was pretty good. You got to say, last night's game was actually decent.
Just say, you can say, from a betting standpoint, whatever, like you have to think less. You know what I mean? You're looking, there's one game on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You're looking at it. It's, there's a hell of a lot less time consuming, but I think it's stupid. And I think the NHL is stupid, but whatever. It wouldn't change anything anyways, like I said, but this is a week right now when people aren't in football mode. They're almost like, well, what else is on, right? And you just sort of let college basketball and the NBA take center stage all week. Nobody cares about your all-star game on Saturday. People are going to be watching college basketball. So it would have been a chance to sort of highlight and showcase the league, because when they come back next week, it's going to be all Super Bowl talk. Like, this could have been the week where they could have said, you know what, we can kind of get people talking about us, and we'll be on TV, and we're only going to have to go head-to-head with the NBA. But I brought it up last night, McKinnis. They've extended their little All-Star weekend all the way through, right? And now it starts on Thursday night instead of Friday night. Like, there's events Thursday, Friday, and Saturday now instead of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which I actually don't understand. I think that's dumb, too.
Do you guys think it's an edge for those teams playing right now? Because they get to go on vacation kind of when the other teams come back to playing. So other teams are going to be back playing while they're going on their little bit of an abbreviated break. And then they're going to come back rested. Yeah. So either they're going to come back rusted or rested, but there's kind of an interesting advantage or disadvantage for those teams right now because some teams are in Cabo and some teams are still playing, and they're not really happy to be still playing either.
Well, that's another thing that's dumb. How the hell, why would you have, some teams shut down on Saturday and some other teams playing still through the week? It doesn't make sense, but whatever. It is what it is. But the whole thing is with the All-Star break coming out of it, it's so long. Who knows? I don't know. You know what I mean? Are the Canucks going to be the same team when they come out of the break? The Oilers have a 16-game win streak going on. The last thing the Edmonton Oilers wanted right now was a 10-day break.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, and other teams, but I don't know. Some teams might come out of it rolling. Some other won't. That's the whole thing. That's one of the things they don't like about the Olympics. The owners are always scared. What's my team going to be like when they come back 3 weeks later and it won't be the same? We don't know the answer to that question. Sort of like the Orioles. Will the equity fund spend money? I don't know.
End up winning outright as a 4.5-point underdog at kickoff last week. They're headed back to the Super Bowl yet again. They were phenomenal, Vinny, in the first half, and they were phenomenal against Miami in the first half, too.
A lot of motivated players, and look, you got to hand it to them. Youthful players playing in a great system by Spagnuolo, and we know how great of a big game coordinator Steve Spagnuolo is.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a beautiful time. NBA players are going wild. If I had to guess, a lot of people are going to get real angry. No defense, no defense, no defense. See, I want people to understand this, okay? Because we're always honest. When I take that big pause, that means we're thinking about betting big.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at this deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
in-game live,
just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
good betting.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, this is Sports Rage. I am Morency. Look forward to getting into the Super Bowl talk. But we got a hockey game. We got a hockey game going on right now. 1-0 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I'll tell you what, give credit to the Blue Jackets. This is their 5th game in 8 nights. And all of them on the road. And not just on the road, but like the hardest road trip. The Western Canada swing and now Pacific Northwest, etc. with Seattle. It's brutal. Like, think about it. Like, if you're the Boston Bruins or the Rangers or the Devils or something, all those cities on the Northeast, on the East Coast, they're all like an hour away from each other, an hour and a half away from each other. It's like if you're Washington and Philadelphia, it's like big deal, right? Like, you know what I mean? Montreal, Ottawa, like there's certain, like these trips. Out West, these teams, people think because Edmonton and Calgary are rivals that they're right beside each other or something. They're not, right? It's not fun. So, like, you're doing Calgary, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver, Seattle, and now you're back in the United States, you know, back in St. Louis right now. I thought it was a horrible spot tonight for the Blue Jackets, McInnes. I'm surprised they're up 1-0.
I don't know what the hell's going on with this Blues team. I really don't. I mean, you win 4 games in a row with the exact same scoreline of 4-3. Game before that, you win 3-0. And this is the effort they give. Guys, look, I don't want to just create a new narrative right now. I mean, this is how people do all the time.
Well, go ahead and do it.
Does it make sense? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Does it make sense? I think it makes sense that we should be betting on younger teams leading into the All-Star break. Because last night I cashed in with the Senators. I'm going to bet them again tomorrow, even though Detroit's kind of young a little bit as well. But the fact of the matter is,
young.
These older teams, you'd think that maybe the younger teams are looking forward to the break. No, the older guys are actually looking forward to it. I kind of thought the older teams would be better at staying focused. The veteran-built teams would have that leadership and, you know, the capabilities to stay focused for one more game. But it really looks to me like the young teams are the ones that are the locked in. The older teams are checked out. St. Louis is saying, I won 4 straight. We're good. They had 9 shots after 2 periods, guys. What was that performance after 4 straight wins?
But you can lose and be trying. You know what I mean? You see teams all the time. We saw it with the Canucks last week. They had like same thing, 11 shots after 2 periods. They were trying, like even Tocchet said after. He was, you know, they tried. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always going to work for you, and it's almost due not to work for you after you've won 4 in a row. I get it. I get what you're saying, but I'm not trying to call you out and challenge you, McInnes, but I will play devil's advocate. I think it's in your head. Like, you know what I mean? You saw like one team or something or this. Like, it's the same thing that nobody could ever give me the exact record for is the parent stuff, Cam. It doesn't matter, bro.
Yeah,
it's like the teams don't win, lose, or lose more because their freaking parents are there. It doesn't change anything. It's a cute narrative. It doesn't matter.
You're right. It is a cute narrative. And the one thing I know about Columbus is this. Since Boone Jenner's come back, they're kind of like a better team, and they have a lot of really good young stars on their team. And they played Vancouver tough. Vancouver had to come back in that game.
Oh, they were up 4-1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Gabe. That's why
they got a lot of bad puck luck. Remember, Ken, they played good against Edmonton, too. It was like 0-0 after 40 minutes in that game, if you remember.
Yeah, and I bet
but guys, have you seen their roster?
That St. Louis line felt like a bait line because, you know what, Columbus is playing a lot of hockey, but they've
got a few guys, though. They got Johnny Gaudreau. They got Jenner. They've got a few dudes, actually. And their goalie's really good.
Merzlikins is good. Yeah, they're like, the thing is, they should be better than they are, and St. Louis isn't really that good. So, like, you know what I mean?
I've never been a Columbus fan or anything, guys, but I've watched, like, this road trip. I've seen every game.
Yeah.
They've battled pretty hard. Like, this isn't a team, like, and I swear to God, bro, like, they hit the crossbar, they hit the goalpost. They're just one of those teams. It's like, yeah, we suck, and the hockey gods aren't on our side, but one day we'll break through. I don't think they're that far off, Cam, actually, if you got them a couple other little draft picks. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't agree more, and like you, I watch Columbus Blue Jacket games, and I'll tell you one thing, they're going to be good. In the second half, they're going to be a play-on team. They have a lot of young guys who are just getting ready. Fantilli's going to be he's a monster, And
another one. Good point. And Fantilli
Like,
got hurt this week too. That was another thing too, right? Fantilli got hurt. He got cut.
What do people want from Columbus? The thing is, they're figuring it out. They've lost heartbreaking games against good teams. And the St. Louis Blues, to me, they got on a little bit of a heater, but let's call it out for what it is. McInnes, you know this too. They're not good. So when I get Columbus at a price, I'll take a chance on them because I think they're one of these teams that actually will be a dog and win some games. They're good. Like, no, we're not going to say good, but Gabe, I'm with you. I think they're actually better than people think they are, and eventually they will have puck luck. And tonight they got good goaltending too.
All right, so let's get into the Kraken and the Sharks. What do you think of this game, McInnes? What are you doing? Kraken, Sharks. Kraken are minus 245 right now.
Yeah. Both teams have scored 14 goals over their last 4 games. We saw the San Jose Sharks put together a 3-game winning streak, which for them is like Edmonton's winning streak with what they've been doing all season long. And the San Jose Sharks right now, they're actually creating some offense. They get Logan Couture back. They're playing a faster brand of hockey, but their defense is still horrible. Guys, I'm not always a metrics guy and all these analytics. I don't usually like that, but every single time I check the websites I use for that stuff, San Jose, bottom 3, bottom 5 in expected goals against. Since December 1st, this team is the second worst team in expected goals allowed. But Seattle's a team right now that when they get a lead, they are not holding on to it. They let that slip through the cracks. I like this number. I got 5.5. I'm comfortable at 6. I've actually double dipped here, guys. I'm on the first period over and the full game over. Let's ride.
Cam, what are you doing with the game?
I kind of agree with McInnes and Gabe. I took the dog. I'm betting both dogs tonight. Give me SJ Sharkey plus 1.5. I like the over 5.5 in this game. It is 6 now. You're right, McInnes. I think San Jose is showing a little bounce in their step. And no offense, Seattle shouldn't be laying 230, 240 against anybody. I don't care. It's a ridiculous line. San Jose's been winning games at home. If we lose, we lose. I like the plus 1.5 sprinkle money line over 5.5, Gabe. Let's roll with the Pooches tonight.
One thing you said too, McInnes, about the teams, and I will say this, I don't think it's getting up for stuff or up or down per se, but more so as well. Some of the older teams are tired, right? They've hit a wall, right? So it's been a long start. You're in the dog days of winter right now, and you've got these young teams, especially with the younger teams. You got call-ups, you got fresher legs. Guys are battling for their jobs, trying to make it in the league. So you get a competitive effort. We've talked about it, lower scoring games, but I'm going to take the San Jose Sharks plus 1.5, minus 130. I don't have the courage to take them to win the game, even though they probably do, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually did win the game. But I'm just taking them plus 1.5, minus 130. So I brought this prop up earlier, guys, and it's pretty crazy, Cam, that Nate McKinnon has scored a point in every home game this year. And that's it's amazing. 25 home games. He scored a point in every game, McInnes. Now, there's a prop up out there. Will he score a point in all 41 home games? Which would be like, come on, man. That's impossible. Well, he's only got 16 more to go right now. I would prefer if the bet, though, was more specific and it said in every home game that he played. Because if he misses one game, you're screwed. Then he's not going to pull it off. And I'd also like a little bit more than 15-1, to be honest, for something that's so incredible. I can't believe it, McKay said he's got a point in 25 games. What do you think about his chances of recording a point in every home game?
I think it's impressive what he's done at home. But, Gabe, I think that what's really impressive is that he's gotten a lot of those points, obviously, not just by goal scoring, but with his assists. With what he's able to do with his goal scoring, using his speed to go up the ice and score, nobody talks about his assists. But you look at the future here with some of the matchups they have at home, I think depth's going to be a story. And when you also have a lot of defensemen that score, like Makar, like Devontae's, there's going to be a game or two where you got Arturi Lehkonen, Miles Wood, and some fourth liner, Logan O'Connor scoring, and McKinnon still smiling after the game, right? They win that game 3-1. Doesn't matter. I mean, to me, like you said, 15-1 is not good enough. I think there's going to be some lower scoring games, and they're a deep team as well. People don't talk about that enough. Also, I'm not saying he's a power play guy only, but he does get a lot of stuff on the power play, so they do have a couple games in a row where there aren't that many power play opportunities. That could affect him as well. So, I would probably look towards staying away from that one. 15-1 is not good enough for me.
Like I said, Cam, if it was just will he get a point in every game that he plays, maybe I'd have fun with it and say, okay. But just to play in every hockey game is not easy. So there's no guarantee that he's going to play in every home game this year, especially if they have something wrapped up late. He gets, little beat up late in the season. Point. So I'm surprised, that it's only plus 1,500. Would you take it? Is it enough at plus 1,500?
No, for all the reasons you said. And the Colorado Avalanche need a McKinnon at 100% to do what they do. And the playoffs in hockey are absolutely, as you know, Gabe, it's a murderer's row out there. Like, basically, what team stays healthy, what team has less injuries, gets beat down less, and they're going to need McKinnon. He does it all. The guy's a tough guy, great assist guy, can score. He's everything. He's one of the best all-around players in the league. So if you are Colorado, yeah, they might not play. I like the fact that you said that. I don't think he will play every game, and I need a hell of a lot more than 15-1. You got to give me 20, 25 before I even consider giving it a sniff.
As good as Edmonton has been, as good as Vancouver has been, I think Colorado's the team to beat in the West. I don't want to dismiss Vegas, but you've got to kind of go through them because they've done it. They've done it before. We've never, Edmonton has a lot of experience. Vancouver, we'll find out. Vancouver's going in there with very little playoff experience. Maybe that doesn't matter, though, right? I think it could catch up to them a bit, though, to be honest with you, but we'll see. All right, on the other side, how much longer will this Edmonton Oilers streak go on?
End up winning outright as a 4.5-point underdog at kickoff last week. They're headed back to the Super Bowl yet again. They were phenomenal, Vinny, in the first half, and they were phenomenal against Miami in the first half, too.
A lot of motivated players, and look, you got to hand it to them. Youthful players playing in a great system by Spagnuolo, and we know how great of a big game coordinator Steve Spagnuolo is.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a beautiful time. NBA players are going wild. If I had to guess, a lot of people are going to get real angry. No defense, no defense, no defense. See, I want people to understand this, okay? Because we're always honest. When I take that big pause, that means we're thinking about betting big.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman
The
Trophy
early
race
line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was good
late
betting.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Twisted Tuesday continues. Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid radio and television network. Shout out to all of our television affiliates, apps, platforms, whatever you're watching us on. 32-28 right now for the Philadelphia 76ers. 10 minutes remaining in the first half. We're just starting the second quarter right now. NHL hockey, we got McInnes and Cam Stewart in the house right now. The Kraken and the Sharks have just started. We talked about liking the Sharks plus 1.5. Cam, you're taking the Sharks on the money line. And McInnes, what are you doing with the game?
Double dip in first period, full game, both the over.
All right, so a little bit of something for everybody with this game. So the Edmonton Oilers, 16-game win streak. All-Star break comes at a horrible time for them, and they've got a big-time matchup coming out of the break. Their first game up will be Tuesday, February the 6th in Las Vegas against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And then after, they get the Ducks. So they're on the road, actually. It's the Oilers at Vegas on the Tuesday. On Friday, they're in Los Angeles against the Ducks. Saturday against the Kings. And then they're back home on Tuesday. I see a prop up right now. Will the Edmonton Oilers still be undefeated after February the 9th? So in other words, will they beat the Oilers? Will they beat the Knights? And will they beat the Ducks? Cam, what do you think? Will their streak get snapped out of the break?
It's a great question, Morency. I'm going to say they can beat Vegas and beat the Ducks. So I'm going to say yes, they're going to continue to win that game. And probably knowing them, they'll lose like against a lousy team when they come back home. But I still think Edmonton, they're really putting it together right now. You're right. The break couldn't have come at a worse time, but I think they can play with Vegas. And I know they'll be motivated to play the Golden Knights. And the Ducks, I think they're obviously a beatable team. So I'm going to say yes, Gabe. I will take yes on Edmonton extending the streak.
McInnes, what do you think?
Yeah, you mentioned the break not coming at a good time for them. I think it did come for one team at a good time, and that's the LA Kings. I think the Kings will snap their streak. I think they beat the Knights, beat the Ducks, and the LA Kings say, hey, we're going to take you on at home in California and knock you out. I think this Kings team, guys, I'm going down fighting with them this year. Some teams need a break. Some teams need change. I believe this team is playing way worse than they're capable of. It's going to be really funny for them with their, what are they, like 3-14, their last 17? They're going to be the team to snap the Edmonton Oilers streak, I think.
Bold.
I'm going to say that they lose the first game back to Vegas.
They could.
And they're going to lose the first game back. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost to LA as well. I like your style as far as, that Saturday night game. It's tough playing Friday and Saturday back-to-back, especially with the Kings waiting for you there. But I do think that I could see that the streak is done just because it came at the worst possible time and they're going to be off and it will get snapped. So I would say that they lose personally. I'm going to bet against them in that game. And you talked about, I agree in a way, McInnes, the LA Kings, yes and no, as far as the Kings break is concerned. It's good that there's a break so they can't lose every night anymore, right? But how positive is this break going to be? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a negative, sort of like the Buffalo Bills going into their bye week after they lost to the Broncos. It's like, oh, great. Now we got 2 weeks of this where, it's just going to be negativity. And because if you're the Kings, I would imagine you just want to get back out on the ice all the time. And, no, we're good. We're going to start winning. Now you've got to wait it out. I would say that
it's
personally,
a forced break.
Yeah, I would say personally, I think the break is good for a team like Vegas, where they won the Stanley Cup. They came out. We all thought, wow, you know what? It'll catch up to them. And it freaking didn't at the start of the year. Remember, it was like, man, these guys, they just don't lose. They're always in a bad spot somehow, and they still win. And then finally it started to catch up to them a little bit. And they brought it up. Right? The coaches brought it up. The players have brought it up. They said, we're getting everybody's best now, man. Right? Now that we won the Stanley Cup, it's different. We're getting everybody's best. Not to mention, Vegas play a pretty physical style of hockey. So you can beat up other teams. It's going to take its toll on you as well. And I think it has. So I think, they're looking at the big picture, sort of like a team like Tampa when they won the Cup, Cam. We're not really worried about like losing a regular season game. It's just about staying healthy, being in the right sort of frame of mind. But I could see now McInnes coming out of the break, the Vegas Golden Knights just being pretty crisp and saying, you know what? The cup is over. The first half is over. And we're past half anyway. It's not really half here. It's go time. I would expect the Vegas Golden Knights to dial it up a notch, McInnes.
Well, I mean, look at them right now. It's not like they've played horribly, and they haven't even been close to their expectations. I like that take quite a bit, Gabe. They've gotten together a little bit. They've gotten healthier, and their goaltending has finally come back. Oh, my goodness, that goaltending was horrific at some points, and that's really what they're known for, is playing low-scoring, battle-it-out hockey. Guys, if you watch the Vegas Golden Knights, this might be kind of a hot take. They're not very fast. You know, they just play hockey the right way. You know, they've got a lot of veteran players. They've got some guys like Marchessault that are sneaky and fast, but they're big. Yeah, like you said. Yeah, he's fast. But, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just think overall this team needed to be healthy. They, like you said, it's a 60-game warm-up. The fact that they are where they are right now is a good thing. But, Gabe, I wanted to say about the Kings.
Yeah.
You know, sorry, Cam, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Gabe's right, because Las Vegas, too, let's remember one thing. Eichel's been out, too. And you can say what you want about Eichel. He's a great hockey player, and he's fit in very well with the Golden Knights. Marchessault's an animal, Gabe. So now all those wounded players that the Vegas Knights Golden have, they get time to lick their wounds. I agree with your take 100%. This is a scary hockey team anytime. And with goaltending, we saw what Aiden Hill did when he's hot. So I would never count out the Vegas Golden Knights. I bet against them before, and it's a lot of regrets I have betting against these guys. So I agree with you, Morency. I think they're a dangerous team.
Well, it's like Kawhi Leonard said, you know, it was last year, the year before, whatever. I think it was last year, it was whatever, with the Clippers. But the Clippers were kind of struggling. The Clippers were kind of struggling around Christmas time. And he said, you know, I told the guys on the team, to win a championship, you just don't start to get good habits when the playoffs start and say we're going to start trying. He said, we need to develop the good habits so when we get to the playoffs. And Vegas understand that, right? It's the same type of thing. Like, that's why I said now, like, Vegas doesn't care about the early season stuff. They're all about, all right, how are we going to defend this cup? And to defend the cup, you got to be playing good hockey. And now it sort of starts coming out of this break now. All right, now there's no turning back. Now sort of the quest for the quest to the defense begins, so to speak, now. Because like I said, we're past the halfway point of the season in reality right now. All right, so let's get to the Super Bowl. McInnes, how you feeling about this Super Bowl matchup? Are the plays jumping off the screen at you?
I'm excited for a good game, guys, but the only thing I've done so far, I haven't locked in any props. I'll have a lot more for the next time we speak. The only thing I've done so far is I've teased up the Chiefs and I've teased down the total. That's what I've done so far, and that's about it. I don't have a lot for you so far, but I think we're going to see an over with the getting that lower number with the total, and you're giving me around a touchdown with this Chiefs team. I'm happy to take that number.
One thing I'll say, you'd almost be better off waiting right now, because now there's twos that are popping up. The money's coming back right now. There's this. I've never really seen anything like this before. Mm-hmm. Normally there's the number, there's the original sort of quote unquote sharp swing, the pro better swing, and then it settles in. This time there was the number, there was the original just hammer job on Kansas City, and people thought it would continue, and now there's this hammer job coming back right now on the San Francisco 49ers as it's back up to 2. I don't know. Is it going to go back? Let's remember, it was at 3 at one point earlier on that Sunday before the games. It was 2.5. So I'm just saying, I like your style. I don't have a problem with it. I personally think San Francisco are going to win, but I will be teasing Kansas City up to +9 and to the over 40.5.
Look, guys, to me, when you look at these trends, right, all you're seeing all over social media is about Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. And when you look at this number, as an underdog, It's just win, right? It's just win. Like, can we really even talk about favorites, underdogs, this stuff right now? Maybe so, but when it comes down to it, it's just win. But when you look at this number, right?
With Mahomes, it's not just as the underdog. I know what you mean because there's no points. It's just that. But Mahomes is 17-3 in his career in games in which the point spread is 3 points or less either way. So that sort of tells you that he wins every one of these damn pick'em games.
And we're betting on San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
With Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
Gets the guy to 17-3.
We need help, Morency. Hey, everyone's going to think it's a lemon play, but I believe in San Francisco. I think they're going to be ready to play this game. It's going to be a very, very good football game. But I agree, McInnes. Getting Kansas City over the touchdown mark on a teaser to the over is probably a very smart way to attack it from a teaser perspective.
I just think that the way they run the ball, the way that they kind of dink and dunk, one thing about Patrick Mahomes that doesn't give enough respect is that even though he can make that amazing play when he's scrambling, throwing the ball like 60 yards when he's falling over, he makes the right play, guys. And to me, when I looked at last week, Lamar Jackson, I'll admit it, I had a big play on the over rushing yards for Lamar. How many times could Lamar have just escaped the pocket and racked up 10 yards, guys? He tried to make the big play. Didn't once connect on it, right? Hero ball. I'm sorry, but there were a lot of open spots to just dump it off or run the ball yourself. Mahomes, a lot of times last week, just did his job, right? There was that one nice, scrambling pass to Kelsey, but show me a highlight tape of Mahomes last week. It's going to be a lot of really just solid fundamental football.
No, it's a good point. I think other quarterbacks get caught up in a tendency of that. We saw the same thing with Josh Allen, actually. The exact same thing against the Chiefs. It's like, dude, you could have dumped it off to Diggs, but no, you wanted to be the hero and throw a 35-yard bomb into the end zone to Shakir in the wind, right? And go for the win, right? Oh, and what would have Mahomes done? Mahomes would have either just dumped it off or ran it for 8 yards and ran out of bounds, right? Same thing, Lamar. I don't know why Lamar got so caught up in the pocket all the time. I really don't. I totally get, and I said this before, I never would have told him to stay in the pocket years ago. I just would have ran his ass into the ground, and when he's done, he's done. But I don't understand. There were so many times where he dropped back to pass, there was no one open. And he was standing there, and he's standing there, and he's standing there, and he's looking. It's like, bro, Odell ain't getting open. All right? Flowers is hit or miss. Andrews is coming back from injury. No one was ever open, yet he just stood there in the pocket all the time. I was shocked by that he didn't take off. But I will say, I knew, man, that it was a sucker bet. It was all the way up to 66 and a half rush yards and stuff. I was like, this is a sucker's ass bet, man. Lamar's going to run over a number. It's like, yeah, he's going to run for 70 yards. It's a lot of numbers, man.
It was a sucker bet. Everyone got that bet.
He got to 57, I think, right? 54 or something.
End up winning outright as a 4.5-point underdog at kickoff last week. They're headed back to the Super Bowl yet again. They were phenomenal, Vinny, in the first half, and they were phenomenal against Miami in the first half, too.
A lot of motivated players, and look, you got to hand it to them. Youthful players playing in a great system by Spagnuolo, and we know how great of a big game coordinator Steve Spagnuolo is.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a beautiful time. NBA players are going wild. If I had to guess, a lot of people are going to get real angry. No defense, no defense, no defense. See, I want people to understand this, okay? Because we're always honest. When I take that big pause, that means we're thinking about betting big.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks, backup
Pharrell
quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was good
late
betting.
night.
We waited for a 1.5. We got paid
We
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. All right. It's 46-41 right now for the Philadelphia 76ers. 3:47 left in the second quarter of play. Andrew McKinnis with us just for a couple of more moments. Let's check in the National Hockey League. Scoreless still.
Quickly on the Sixers. So Embiid, so what's he got left? His over-under 5, and there's no MVP. He's already missed all those games. We got a lot of basketball left, right? He has to play a certain amount of games to get there. So I don't know what's going to happen with that situation, but he's missed a lot of action. Back tonight, but, right?
I don't want to. Somebody told me on Twitter that, oh, you hate Joel Embiid because I mocked him because he didn't play against Denver the other day. You know, he hasn't played in Denver since 2019.
Yes.
It's like, bro, like, if you don't want to play Jokic, just don't play him. Like, okay.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
like
It's
fine.
quite
I guess
obvious
that's the way
you don't want to deal with him. Like, you missed the Denver
but-
game every time. Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Since 2019, coincidentally, every time you're unable to play when you're in Denver. But you know, he dropped 70 against the Spurs. Oh, good for you. Like, and people didn't bring up Wembanyama scored 33 on him in 28 minutes. So like suddenly that's 70. He's like, all right, the other guy scored 33 on you. But my whole point with Embiid is he brought up the MVP stuff, and it bothers him so much. And I never forget the Tom Brady once. There was a guy in the Patriots, and he goes, I was on the Patriots, and I got my Tom Brady lesson. He goes, I didn't make the Pro Bowl. And he goes, I got screwed over. I should have been a Pro Bowler. And I was in my locker crying. And he goes, Tom Brady came up to me in the locker, and he said, what are you crying about? And he goes, man, I should have been a Pro Bowler. And Tom Brady said, you think I give an F about Pro Bowls? He goes, we're here to win Super Bowls, kid. He goes, ain't no Pro Bowls here. We're here to win Super Bowls. And like that was Brady's way of telling him, man, wake up. Like, it ain't about MVPs. It's about getting a ring. Joel Embiid, it's about MVP. It's not about the ring. Like, he's more concerned with that MVP, McKinnis, you know what I'm saying? And he is about a championship. Like, I'm just being real, in my opinion. He joins Team USA Olympic team. Come on. What a way to get a ring there, eh, bro?